there.
Testing.
Hey there.
Hi, Quinn. How are you?
I'm doing well. This is Quinn 24/7 Comedy Radio, the final day of what has been absolutely incredible Moontower Comedy and Oddity Festival. I'm sitting here with, if Austin had like a calendar boy for their comedians, you'd be January.
Do I have to take my shirt off? I don't mind taking my shirt off. Is this a comedy festival? I thought this was a drinking challenge is what we've been doing for the last couple days. Is this okay to have on this thing? Okay, good. Cheers. I was all weird about it, but thank you.
Matt Bearden's having a party right now. You're kind of like the man. You're like
That's not true at all. That's not true at all. I try to be an ambassador at times. I try to give back for all the great people who were very nice to me on my way up. That's like the way I look at it.
Who's been so great to you?
Well, I will tell you that I started in a place called the Velveeta Room, which is here in town, which is a little hole in the wall, and most people look at it as they're walking down 6th Street, and they don't give it two thoughts. But I will tell you, it's one of the greatest rooms in the world, and I have a great deal of feeling for it. I'll tell you, this happened at the Velveeta Room. There was a guy that showed up to the show, and before the show, he said, "I'm going to heckle." He said to me, he didn't know that I was going up that night, but he said, "I've been at a strip club all day drinking. A cab driver brought us here, and I'm going to come show the comics who's a boss." He also kept calling himself a cripple. He was in a wheelchair, and I kept saying, "Hey, cripple's a really harsh word." And he's like, "I don't care." He's like, "That's how I deal with it, and that's my sense of humor." And I was like, "Well, that's actually a good way to look at it." You know what I mean? But he was being a real belligerent jerk to all the opening acts. And I generally book my own shows. I love my opening acts. They're my friends, and I want someone to be nice to them. So when I got on stage, now I forgot to let the audience know, hey, look, we had this previous conversation. So what happened is I immediately walked out. I looked him in the eye, and I say, "If you say another fucking word to me, I'm going to slash the tires on your chair." And then he was asked to leave. Well, all the audience knows now is that I'm the kind of guy who comes out and makes fun of a guy in a wheelchair.
Well, so you and I were having a conversation yesterday about how you're just now to a point where you think that you're ready to actually lay some audio down to put something out.
I've recorded 4 CDs over the last probably 7 years. And then once I hear them, I go, this is terrible, and I don't do anything with it. And they're just languishing and sitting around the house. Well, the problem is I need somebody who will just do the project. And I think that's what we're going to end up doing here, as I'm going to tell somebody, you're in charge, cut it well, don't let me hear it. I know this sounds weird because there's no other self-loathing comedians out there. I'm the only one, right? The only one with a confidence crisis. But that is just who I am. I once I can hear stuff back, you can hear the errors, and I have a problem, I think, with perfection. It's why I can't be a painter or whatever. The great artists, it's a brush and canvas, and they let it do what they all work together. And well, I've never even tried to paint. I don't know why I'm using that as an analogy. That's a really dumb move. You look forward to these things, and they're over really...
Because we're having so much fun. Everything's been flawless. Like I was telling Stacey from the Paramount last night, and anyone that I know who's been involved in the festival, flawless execution. I have not personally had any problems. If there have been any problems, I haven't noticed them. And just to be able to look around the room and, see Stephen Wright sitting there and Mark Maron and, like all these amazing comedians just hanging out, whatever.
Those are my favorite parts of that festival, especially because I will be honest with you, most comics are pretty down to earth and unassuming, right? There's a couple of us that are real jerks, but they aren't at this festival. And it's nice to just hang out. I mean, we got into comedy because we love comedy, and it's fun to talk with other comics. And this festival has been nice because there's been a remarkable low amount of the one-upmanship that can sometimes happen when a bunch of comics are in a room, I think we all know that we are good people here, and there's no bullshit. We're just hanging out, we're telling jokes, we're having a good time, or whatever.
Genuinely, expecting, was appreciative of what everyone's doing. Everyone here is talented and...
Are you worried about that? Did you really just say, do you want to stick yours in there? Thank you. Well done, Quinn.
Moontower, woo! Matt Bearden, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thanks for letting me be a part of it. I hope that at least some of the bus sound gets to you, the viewer, so you know that we have public transportation that's decided to all show up at once.